what's this gonna be? You know how I played it for. That nigga burning.
Come on back up in here. Come on back up in here. It's your boy, Pelican Bay Dog TV and news for the day. Giving it to my brothers and my sisters the way I always do, man. We got some news to talk about, some things to talk about today, and we're going to just put it together. You know, like I always say, big shout out to all the pet lovers across the world, from the top of the globe to the bottom. Big shout out to them brothers and sisters down in the chat and everybody watching the video from afar. You know, we just got some things to talk about today, man. And we just gonna get straight up into it. You see, all the news outlets, when you check on the news, when you Google anything, all the news outlets is covering the ex-NFL star dogfighting bust. All the outlets covered. So that's what I was talking about last year this time. The outlets say this is the largest seizure in history for one person. You mean to tell me that goes unnoticed for 6 months? That's what I was talking about. You know, it ain't about name calling. It ain't about pointing fingers. It ain't about none of that. It's about people knowing where they can shop at. If Walmart got bad goods, you want to know if Walmart got bad goods. Oh man, don't go to Walmart. You're going to get bad eggs. You're going to get bad bread. You want to know that, right? It's the same thing. You know, you don't want to shop somewhere where you're not going to get what you pay for. And every time, the actual product is stuff that come along with that product. You know, I always say it's the little things around the edges you don't pay attention to. And you have to deal with. But like I say, all these news articles running it, seems to be a real big thing in the news over the past day or so. Like I always say, we as dog men, I would hope everybody would think like this as dog men, but we know everybody don't think like this. We should never want something bad to happen to another dog brother. Anybody really, you know, when it comes to these dogs. We always try to understand everybody's story until we see what's what, and you know, maybe it's to a point where you can't, you know, you just gotta handle it how you gotta handle it. But what we gonna do in this video, man, we gonna check out a few things, because we gonna go back to this Raw Bull raid last year in April. And see, this is the thing. And we wouldn't know this if we weren't covering these articles and covering these news events when they happen. You see, it's one thing that both of these brothers got in common. You know, Raw Bull, the fellas that's involved with that, Mall Camp, whatever involved with that, one thing they all got in common. And we gonna get to that. You know, we gonna get to that. But first thing I want to say, man, you know, I want to speak to these old school kennels real quick. A lot of y'all old school, bigger kennels, more well-known kennels out there across, you know, across the country. I could say across the world, but what goes on across the world don't affect us here in the United States. So to the big breeders, the old schoolers that's still in the game, that's still planning on being in the game with your dogs, you know, it's y'all time. When I say that, I mean like this right here. It's time for y'all to start giving back. You know, a lot of y'all brothers, you cake, and that's what you're supposed to do since the 90s. But these modern day dog brothers, they need activities and things to do with these dogs. So that's why I say it's time to start giving back to the old kennels, these head honchos, these brothers who doing the right things with the dogs. But you know, you gotta give the people that's buying the dogs something to do. You know, and I say the older kennels because, like I said, a lot of these brothers, and this is no hate, you know, this is what you're supposed to do. A lot of these brothers made money for a lot of years. And now that you know things are going in other ways, you gotta move in that kind of way. You know, you gotta look out for the little man. You can't just be out here, oh, I'm gonna make $1, and then selling, and the little folk ain't got nothing to do with these dogs. But one thing, you know, I mean, that's just my opinion. You know, I couldn't know. Everybody is entitled to their opinion on certain things, and I just feel like it's time for the old school brothers to be giving back, man. You know, now what we all gotta understand, when it comes to these dogs, when it comes to buying, selling, or whatever, these dog men who's only dealing with dogs, they're only dealing with dogs. And a lot of them, I mean, the old schoolers, you know, brothers get dealing with these brothers. But you gotta understand this, and I'm about to explain it to you why. If you can't take certain things to your ears, if it hurts your heart to hear certain things, or if you get mad or get in your feelings about certain things, you know, you just might need to turn the channel. But I'm gonna tell you like this, man. Any dog man who's just selling dogs, living his regular life, breeding his dogs, whatever he's doing, but he's not affiliated with the dope dealing life, they're not going to involve themselves. See, a lot of this stuff that's going on is coming from brothers getting caught up in dope sales, brothers getting caught up in transactions, dope deals, this and that from state to state. That's why they got all this stuff involved with each other, from the dogs to the dope to the guns to the weed. Everything is entangled to the gambling, the racketeering, all that, because of the simple fact. You know, a lot of these brothers get tied up into these situations, you know, and then you might go back and this is the thing. When they go back and ask these dog men anything about you, you know, they're not tying themselves to no dope situation. They might say, oh, I sell them dogs, but them folk not dealing with no dope situation. And if they gotta get it off of their back, they gonna get it off their back. You can say how you want to feel about street codes this, street codes that, this, and all that shit. But listen, these folk is only dealing with dog. You know, folk is only dealing with dog, and you bringing tons of trouble around them because of the situations and things you doing. So when them folk come pick them up and say, oh man, what you know about a murder? What you know about these drugs, tons of drugs? What you know about pounds? These folk don't know nothing about that. And if they did, they gonna still, if they not involved with it, they gonna push it off. You see, no matter how much I get up and talk, some brothers will change and make positive moves. But the thing is, it's gonna always be like this. You know why? As long as it's dogs, you know, and dope and all that other stuff that's going on, which I can't see it going because it's too profitable for both sides. The people in the street making too much money off of it, and the people running the prison system and the government making too much money locking brothers up. So I can't really see it stopping anytime soon. When any, I don't care what kind of police officer it is, bring any of that dope talk, any of that kind of crazy talk to a regular dog man who not involved with that stuff, you gotta look for that to come back towards you. You know? And that's why I say, man, it's gonna always be this pit bull dope problem and all that type of stuff, because simple fact, young brothers won't like the dogs, and then you're not trying to go out here and work or make an honest living. You're trying to do some crazy stuff. You know, so it always involves, it goes back to a full circle with the dogs. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we can say the heat came from the brother who didn't supposed to have no dogs, or we can say the heat came from the transporter, you know, the transporter who was running for him. We can say all that. You know, but at the end of the day, you never know, you know, until you know. When you're being greedy and when you're selling to anybody, these brothers have different lifestyles. Everybody have different lifestyles. Oh, this brother spent 20 grand with you in the last month and you done locked them in for one of your number one customers, but you don't know how he got that money, which don't matter to you at all. And it shouldn't matter to you. But at the same time, it should. You know, it has to matter to you nowadays. You don't have to get involved with it at all. You know, but you just got to keep that in mind, what lifestyle this person living and what type of money you getting and where it can lead to in the long run if they get in some trouble. They don't even got to say nothing about you, period. It can be phone taps. It can be all other kind of stuff that lead back to you. You know, they never needed him to say anything. But just the surveillance and investigation they had in his situation led back to you, and now they got enough information on you, you know, which you shouldn't be doing nothing illegal anyway. But like I said, a lot of people don't want that, just that trouble in general, man. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, like I said, that dope, we ain't gonna be able to stop it. You know, even when they lock people up, it's always gonna be somebody up under that until they actually take that drug off this country soil. It's gonna always be somebody to come up, they're gonna sell it, to come up, they're gonna sell it, it's gonna always be like that. And somebody to lock them up, somebody to lock them up. Like I said, job security for both sides. You know, so what we gonna do is we gonna do like all the other YouTube channels doing and put this two and two together in this triangle. How we got Raw Bull, Mall Kent, and one thing they got in common. You know, Tom Garner. The one thing both of them got in common, Tom Garner. And what we gonna do, brothers and sisters, right here, is we gonna go back to this Raw Bull article and show they link to Tom Garner. And then we gonna go to the other brother who linked to Tom Garner. But the thing is, it's funny, right? It's real funny how Garner was already knocked off for dogs back in the days, you know. Ran into some more issues after that with the dogs. Now you tied into, they got proof that you is part of the Labrio family. Not the Low, but the family that they call the Labrio, or the name that they made up, the Labrio family. Now, these guys are all in a federal investigation. You tied with them. You tied with Kent, Garner. Within a year's time, two people you tied with, both biggest kennels between Raw Bull and Kent. How many dogs was that went away? 190 with Kent, 100 and some with Raw Bull. That's right at over 300 and some dogs. It's over 300 and some dogs. Over 300 and some notable dogs. So before we get deep into this triangle, something just clicked in my head. What was y'all trying to keep all this stuff hush hush for, Kent? Maybe it wasn't to hurt nobody, police-wise. Maybe you wasn't trying to get nobody in trouble. You trying to keep it hush hush so nobody know them dogs got taken, so you can keep peddling them papers and keep peddling them papers. Oh, I got Hog. Oh, I got this dog. Oh, I got a black dog. That black dog ain't TikTok or the rest of them dogs. That's why they want to keep it hush. See, making that money is more important than worrying about a reputation, right? So he ain't worrying about what you think about him. But he just worrying about, do you know them dogs gone? He ain't worrying about going to do a couple years. As long as you think, you as a customer, you as the consumer, as long as you think them dogs still around, He can come back home and start back peddling you them dogs coming from the dog pound with his same old school papers. Get back onto the program. You see, it's something far more important than just trying to keep the little business quiet than keeping the little business quiet. Like I said, folk ain't stupid out here. It's a big difference. It ain't just one thing that changed. It ain't just the laws that changed since the 90s. It's the whole dog man way of thinking, the whole dog game period that changed since the 90s. You ain't getting away with all that bullshit you got away with in the 90s and the early 2000s in the dog game now. You know? And just, like I said, when October was here and I was the only one talking about it, hater, 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 hater. How many of y'all up under the comments of all them other news outlets that got that article? How many of y'all comment up under that and say, oh, talking trash to them? Near one of y'all. You know, hey, I'm just going to give it to you fair and cut, raw and unbiased. Simple as that. You know, and like I said, this don't be nothing personal. Just giving the news. Giving the news. Laying it out how I have to lay it out. Now, like I said, we discussed that, and we know that no dog man is going to affiliate himself with the dope problems, the problems that the dope boys bring to the table. No dog man going to affiliate himself with that. He's going to step away. He's going to push himself over here. That's him. That's what he got going on. And they're not worried about what you say or call them. You know, and like I said before, we about to get into this video of the raw bull. You know, and then we'll get into the video, more video they put out this morning of mall camp. You know, I gave y'all that one that was put out yesterday before they got the other news anchors talking about it. You know, I had to give you the breaking news, CNN satellites from outer space. You know, he had just went to, well, actually last week he had went to his first appearance. You only go to his first appearance when you're on roll call. So what we gonna do real quick, let's get into this raw bull. Listen to it, check it out, and then they're gonna tell you how they link to the brothers and sisters who weren't here when we covered this stuff, and the ones who want to hear it again. They're gonna tell you we're gonna make this triangle. You know, they're gonna tell you how he linked to Tom Garner, or how Tom Garner linked to the Lowe family. Let's get into it.
Members of 3 generations of an alleged dogfighting family who have variously used the names Lobrio, Low, and Lower were taken into custody on April 3, 2024, along with 103 pit bulls, by a posse including police from Ohio, Connecticut, and Washington, D.C., reported John Paul of WPVI television in Philadelphia. They were joined by federal agents, the United States Department of Agriculture, and the Defense Criminal Investigative Service, Paul added. The Defense Criminal Investigative Service is the criminal investigative arm of the Office of Inspector General, U.S. Department of Defense. Why military police were involved remained unclear more than a day later. The property was mostly fenced off. Several large buildings, trailers, and an RV were also inspected by officers, Paul continued. Yellow no trespassing signs that warned of video surveillance were posted all over the area as well. 2 vehicles were towed away from the property. Neighbors said the owner has been in trouble with the law in the past, Paul finished. Paul identified neither the suspects nor the cause for the bust, leaving the curious in limbo. Linda Cohen, founder of Breaking AC, covering nearby Atlantic City, on the morning of April 4, 2024, named suspects Bruce Gordon Lowe Jr., 45, Bryce Lowe, 20, Terry Lowe, 67, William McClinton, also identified as George McClinton, 68, Coy Dickinson, 58, Travis Guerin, 37, and Roosevelt Hart III, 29. Tom Garner's linked to Royal Bull. The animal's 24/7 team soon identified the Lows as members of the family formerly known as Lobrio and identified Bruce Gordon Lowe Jr. using the name Bruce Lobrio as an associate of Tom Garner, a North Carolina pit bull breeder since 1978, who was convicted of dogfighting in 1994. An April 12, 2000 raid by the sheriff's office in Roanoke County, Virginia, found 73 pit bulls chained to trees and old car axles on property owned by Tom Garner, and another 19 pit bulls on neighboring land belonging to alleged dogfighting trainer Kyle Arthur Pierce. Evidence found during the Pierce bust led U.S. federal agents to the home of his former housemate, Philip William Reynolds, publisher of the underground American Game Dog Times magazine, plus an accompanying website. Garner, however, was only charged with not licensing the pit bulls on his property. 2 pit bulls were held as evidence, the rest remained on chains. Garner kept 71 of the pit bulls after paying $2,026 in fines.
See, Marquant, maybe you was beginning to be a problem to your homeboy Tom Garner. You see, a lot of them old schoolers don't want to get out of the way, and they feel like, I'm telling you, if it's going to come to their dogs and you, it's going to be you. When it comes to a lot of these old schoolers, especially folk, high, like that. So maybe you was making a little too much money for your boy. Maybe, it's either him or you. When it comes to this pit bull game, a lot of these old school bulldoggers move like old school, the dope boys from the 80s and the early 90s. This wasn't really from my era. The early 90s and the 80s. Call the police on you when you're making too much money on the block. Get you up off the block. My era, they did something else to get you up off the block. But, we always heard the stories about, these brothers call the police on this. I'm talking regular cities. Just call them on them to get them off the block so they can make more money. These brothers do the same thing in the dog game, man. You start making too much money and you not right with these dogs, they're gonna push all that towards you. Whether you want to believe it or not. It's laid out for you to see. Article after article. If you don't think a lot of this stuff is connected, you must be blindly mistaken. You getting the biggest bust in that Chicago and Indiana situation. 3 or 4 states. You got Raw Bull, Marquant, and whatever other big kennels went down since then. Now let's just say Garner number 1, Raw Bull number 2, and Marquant number 3, breeders. Let's just say that, and brothers can argue that, they can argue that question. That statement. This brother had great dogs, so they say. The other brother had great dogs, so they say. So you can argue that fact. 1, 2, and 3 breeder. Now, 1, 2, and 3 dealing with each other, but 2 and 3 go down. 1 already had a situation in the past where the same type of stuff happened already. You see, when I left the game, like I said, I didn't turn back. You can't say I did nothing. You can't say, oh man, you can't put me or say anything about that game because when I left, I left. A lot of these dog men, they had past, they had skeletons in their past, But it was in the dog game, and they still in the dog game, and they still doing the same things. Before they lose their dogs, you know, they gonna give up the whole dog game. Instead of just doing the right things and enjoying everybody. I told brothers, to some of these brothers, you're only a dollar bill. They don't give a damn about you, period. Nothing you got going on, what you're doing, they don't care about none of that stuff. They don't care if you're in jail or none of that stuff. Okay, he used to buy dogs, he in jail now? Okay, go on to the next one. You know, and when you're thinking like that, it's easy to disassociate yourself with all that shit that the modern day dog man bring with them. While these old school dog brothers laughing and kicking in your face, making these videos, and everybody giving them all the views just because he's an old school bulldogger, same old school bulldogger, be bringing all the heat to some of your favorite dog men. When you have brothers who did things in the 90s, in the dogs, you know, and then they turn around and all right, we got something that happened in the 90s. We got something that happened in the David Tent era with Tom Garner. His name coming up with the Royal Bull situation. Now, all of a sudden, Maul can't become good friends with Garner, which he probably already was, you know, but all of a sudden, he doing business with him. Now, look what happened. Like I said, we don't point fingers. We just here to talk about this triangle. 1, 2, 3, all of them connected, 2 and 3 in jail. Now, who is the #1 breeder in the world again? Which it wasn't never no problem with that from the start. He still was the #1 breeder probably, you know. But of the old school breeders, of the old school mainstream breeders, which one is left? So it's either he got that secret key, or he doing something right. So let's just say he's doing something right. If he's doing something right, then that means it don't matter how many dogs you got. It ain't what you got, it's what you're doing with what you got. You know, because we don't never want to say he doing something and pointing fingers that he ain't doing. But we just we gonna put that triangle right there. So if Garner don't have no problems with these folk, with his dogs, because he's doing the right things, you better take advice from him. To y'all brothers that want to know about the fast lane and what's the difference, welcome to the fast lane. You in the fast lane now, my brother. You know, like my man said on the juice, you got that juice now. You know, you in the fast lane, brother, sister. You know, understand what you out here doing. Understand what's going on around you. See, the dog man gonna take your dope money, but he not gonna take what's affiliated and everything your little dope money brings with it. You know, so you just got to get that through your head. And anybody, you know, get that through your head. Them dog men is not affiliated with that dope stuff if they got a chance to clarify themselves or clear themselves of it. You know, and like I said, we about to play this video. It's what the news people giving today of Maul Kent. We just gonna let it play, man, and get back into this dog talk when we done. Y'all hit that like button up out there. You know what I'm saying? You know where you're gonna get it from first. You know where you got it from first. Pelican K9s, dog, TV, and news. Let's go.
An Oklahoma man and former NFL player charged with operating the largest dogfighting business ever uncovered by federal authorities. An Oklahoma man and former NFL player charged with operating the largest dogfighting business ever uncovered by federal authorities.
We're talking 190 pit bulls. We're talking 190 pit bulls. They've been seized from LaShawn Eugene Johnson, who was from Broken Arrow. This was in October of 2024. Now, Johnson was charged with selling, transporting, and delivering the dogs for animal fighting.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Federal officials said that his breeding and trafficking of fighting dogs led to the growth of the dog fighting industry across the nation. If convicted, Johnson faces a maximum penalty on each count of 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine.
Former pro football player from Oklahoma now indicted on charges.
This is not the first time LaShawn Eugene Johnson has been in trouble for dogfighting. Johnson was a standout running back at Haskell and went on to play in college and professionally.
According to court documents, Johnson ran a dogfighting operation known as Mall Cat Kennels in both Broken Arrow and Haskell. Federal investigators say they seized 190 dogs and believe it is the largest number of dogs taken in a federal case.
In 2004, Johnson pleaded guilty to dogfighting charges in Hughes County. He received a 5-year deferred sentence. If convicted in this case, Johnson faces 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine.
Let's just go back to the talking topic of all these notable dogs that left over the past year and a half. You know, we got over 300 and some dogs that left, and this talking topic is only to address the fact that how bloodlines change up, how whole families of dogs disappear, how the game, changes in a matter of 10 years. And we wonder why the dogs may not look the same, or why the dogs may not be of same quality, or certain things brothers may feel like. These type of situations affect the dog game majorly, and them folk know that. But what it affects is the people that's doing right and the people that's doing wrong. See, the people that's doing wrong, by them losing all their dogs, is making the people that's doing right can't get access to the dogs that they want or the dogs that they desire. Oh, I want these Zebo dogs. You can't get them because Zebo dogs got took in some yard raid back in 2005 and took over 200 and some dogs. You can't get these rascal dogs the way you want because in a raid in 07, they took 300 and some dogs that year. And out of them 300 and some dogs, one of the yards was a heavy bred rascal dog that was coming back from the old school stuff. These raids affect the dog game just like the gamblers affect the dog game, just like the dope boys affect the dog game, just like the brothers who were selling to the dope boys affected the dog game in the 90s. Now that we know, we got the raids, we got the dope boys, we got the gamblers, and we got the ones that sold it to the dope boys, the junkies and all that, even if they weren't junkies. The ones who fed into the money of the dope boys in the 90s. That's 4 different groups that can all take equal share of destroying the dog game or trying to destroy this pit bull game, in your face right now. And if we be truthful about it, the raids probably did more damage to the pit bull community or game than the gamblers, the dope boys, and the brothers who sold it to the dope boys. You see, when I say damage, I mean far as the bloodlines and stuff like that. See, the dope boys and the people who sold it and the gamblers and all that, they messed up the motion of the game. They screwed up the motion of the game when the raids screwed up the bloodlines. You got Marl Ken ain't the first one to try to keep it quiet so he can bring them dogs back to peddle them off. Oh, I got this dog over here on the low, I'm hiding him. He got papers on him, but that dog there is part Staffordshire and part something else. You know, he ain't the first one that did that. That's why I always say, man, if everybody was honest in this dog game since 1990 to 2025, yeah, we could say these dogs is this and these dogs come off of that. And man, you know, I know, she know, and he know. This dog game is not honest. You know, just the world itself is not an honest place. So if let's just talk numbers now. Let's talk numbers. Say we got 10 raids that happened in the 90s. Let's just say we had 10 raids that happened all through the 90s. It may be more, but we're going to add up 10 all through the 90s. And say out of these 10 raids through the 90s, they confiscated 300 dogs, which we know they got more than that. You know, let's just say all through the 90s, they confiscated 500 dogs. All right. Now, we already know Jocko got confiscated. Major dog in the dog game back in them days. We know he got confiscated, plus many more. So we say 500 dogs got confiscated at least throughout 1990 to 1999. You know for a fact them 500 dogs were dogs of key positions, dogs with key bloodlines, dogs that were directly off of these dogs that you look high on today, right? So with these 500 dogs left, out of these brothers that got raided, you automatically know at least 2 of them brothers went back to paper peddling fake pedigree dogs. You know that for a fact. There's not no opinion. Out of them 500, which is a low number, we just, giving it 500 throughout 10 years. You know for a fact, 2 people went back to selling Jeep dogs, went back to selling yellow dogs, went back to selling Eli dogs. It only take 1 or 2 breedings to screw up a line, to make a line shift another direction. 1 or 2 breedings, not 1 or 2 people. 1 or 2 people that's making a lot of breedings can change the game all the way around. Especially if it's a brother who got Eli dogs or Red Boy Jocko dogs, supposed to be, but he paper peddled it off something that wasn't Red Boy Jocko at all, and he's a major breeder, or she's a major breeder, and it wasn't Red Boy Jocko at all. Stuff like that changed the game totally. And you're wondering why the dog quality may change outside of the laws and the breeding. But that'll be considered the breeding. 500 from the 90s. Okay, we see that. Now we got from 99, which is 2000, we're going to go to 2010. We know 500 dogs was confiscated in America from 2000 to 2010. Adding them all up together. Bloodlines coming directly off these bloodlines. Or dogs coming directly off these bloodlines. And we know several brothers from 99 to 2010 got their papers and peddled off some fake dogs. Now we're going from 2010 to 2025. We go ahead and skip 15 years. And then, Mr. Boudreaux lost all his dogs. That's a whole family of dogs. And like I said, I'm speaking about dogs. I'm not speaking about whether these brothers was innocent or guilty or whatever. I'm just speaking about dogs and how many of them left over the past 20, 30 years that was key figures in these bloodlines to where we can't trust everything you see all the time. This is why we got to go with what you see in your face and not what you read on that paper. You know, all it takes is a key figure like Mal Kent to take them papers, lie to y'all like he still got them dogs here somewhere, get a dog pound dog, put them papers on it. Now that's War Pony. You getting a dog that got a little bit of Sharpei in it. You thinking that's War Pony, but he part Sharpei and staff. And believe me, I done seen a pit bull mixed with Sharpei, and you can see Sharpei, but you can't see Sharpei unless I tell you it's mixed with Sharpei. Now you be like, oh, I can see it, but you can't see it. You know, all litters don't turn out the same, but the litter I seen, you know, took more on the pit bull side with the Sharpei color, and had a funny looking big muzzle. It ain't had no wrinkles on them, you know. But it took more into the pit bull. Had a nice muzzle, you know. But you could tell it had Sharpei in it. Once I said, "Yo, that's a Sharpei mix," you know. So that's what we're gonna be subject to in a minute. It's like we're gonna be, especially how we follow these papers so much. Brothers see that. Brothers across this dog community see that this dog game is based off of papers now. Many of these brothers don't even care about how the dog is. You know what I'm saying? It go in my papers. So if I can just give you some good papers, it don't matter. All I'm trying to do is make the money. They don't care about you, period. There's only a handful of dog brothers, you know, across this world that really care about you. You start spending money with them, that's a wrap. Conversation over. You know, or you lose that big job you had, making all that money, and now you can't spend the way you was spending. Conversation over for some dog brothers. Oh man, I'll call you when I do make this breed, and you never get that call. You know, it's just like we always say, man. Everybody got their own decisions to make. Everybody go their own route in this thing. Everybody got to ride on their own road to feel the bumps themselves, to see if they can make it through or they gonna get flat tires. You know, is that shortcut the better route? Did you make it there, like I said before, unscathed? Yeah, you made it there 2 hours before I did. But how you looking right now? You know? And big salute and big shout out to the brothers down in that chat, man. Y'all hit that like button up because you're rocking with the Bay. You know what I'm saying? You're rocking with the Bay. I'm giving it to you the way I always do. Hey, some will like it, some ain't. Big salute to my brothers and sisters up in West Virginia, holding it down. In Virginia, holding it down. DC, Baltimore, holding it down. My folk in Glen Burnie, holding it down. Annapolis, holding it down. Yes, sir, man. All my bulldogs out here. And then you remember the big bus over there, I think it was Missouri somewhere. They had the one, I think it was the biggest one in America. You know, hundreds and hundreds of pit bulls. You know, and then the joint that happened in the Carolinas. Hundreds and hundreds of pit bulls. All these dogs disappearing, but you can bet them papers still around. It's why I always tell brothers, so stop thinking I'm just talking when I'm telling you, you know, all we can go by is the papers. All, you know, we want to hope these dogs are who they are for. And that's what we want to think, you know, but at the end of the day, a lot of these dogs ain't bred like that. A lot of these dogs ain't Jeep dogs. A lot of these dogs ain't Red Boy Jocko dogs. A lot of these dogs are not Eli dogs. A lot of these dogs are not Bolio dogs, neither Rascal dogs. You know, a lot of these dogs aren't Kobe dogs. You know, it's just like that, man. The need for the dollar has overpowered the need for my dog to be who he really say he is. You see, that's why I say when you find a family of dogs that you know that you can rock with, Don't just jump around from, click hop. Once you find a family of dogs that you can rock with that family. Because that way you know these dogs are bred the way they say they're bred. He or she, it don't make no difference. You see why Chico fell off when it comes to this YouTube stuff? And I hope you listening, Mr. Lopez. Why you fell off? Because everything that you was talking about on YouTube was trying to sell your puppies. You didn't care about no dog, brother, and you publicly, talk trash to all the dog brothers. Made them feel like they wasn't nothing when they had black dogs. Made them feel like they pit bulls weren't this. They talked to them like this. I understand certain things, But what you didn't bring to the table was trying to help these brothers. Trying to help the brothers who not screwed up yet. See, everybody not screwed up, don't have a screwed up way of thinking yet. And everybody not in the swamps yet. You got the swamps or in the middle. You got some brothers who about to step into the swamps. That's why I say you got ones who on that borderline of making them decisions. Those are the ones that can be, helped. He see the swamps. He ain't got to step into them. He can see what's going on over there to say, oh, I want to go this route. You're just trying to get to the same destination without going through the problems that they had to go through. All they trying to do is make a couple dollars and have a bulldog worth talking about, when you can do the same exact thing by going another route. Same goal, different way of going about it. Play that turtle. Like I said, what you better do is get you a copy of this book right here. Learn how to take care of them dogs and do the right things with them dogs the way you can have them later on down the line. And big thank you and big shout out and salute to everybody that got their copy. And I got something special in line, because see, this is the thing. Everybody who got a copy of this book right now, I'm going to change the cover eventually. I said that I was going to allow brothers to post, to buy. If you want to put your dog on the cover, you can give me $500, but I'm not doing that. I had a thing about it. I'm not doing that because everybody dog don't represent what I represent when it comes to these dogs. And I may put a dog up here that's under investigation and make what I got going on look a certain kind of way. So, it's going to stay like this until I make this change in a little while. I'm going to make the change in the cover. But everybody who got the book in this cover, you will get discounts on puppies or whatever I'm selling, or different kind of things, or whatever activities I have going on. You having this book right here in this cover, going to have you good on the base side. So get your copy of the Pitbull Encyclopedia, man. Like I said, and stop having, a lot of y'all brothers got pride, too much pride. Like I said, oh, you know this, you know that, you know this, but you'll turn around. You walk in the store right now, I'm going to tell you like this here, right? No matter how much any of us think we know, you walk in Walmart right now, you know what kind of books they have on their little bookshelf, right? On their little magazine shelf. You walk in Walmart right now and you see this book right here. I don't care what you think, you're going to buy it just because it's the kind of the stuff that you like to look at, pit bulls. And you're not used to seeing them in Walmart, sitting up on a shelf like that. And then you're not going to see like a whole category of pit bull magazines in Walmart. So I guarantee if you saw it in Walmart, you will buy it. So why you hesitating right now to buy it? Is that little bit of hate coming out you? You know what I'm saying? Go hit me up in that messenger. Contact me right now to get your copy of this Pitbull Encyclopedia. You can't tell me you don't need it. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that. It ain't about whether you go to a channel and ask for advice or anything like that. If you tell me you don't need it, I'm telling you this right now to your face, any brother or sister. Don't buy no more Pitbull books. Don't buy no more magazines. Don't buy nothing for the rest of your Pitbull life. Period. The same way you don't know what's in that magazine, the same way you don't know what's in that other book, the same way you don't know what's in mine. But you feel like you don't need it. But it's all good. A lot of y'all feel like y'all ain't need that news either. So I'm going to say it again. Get your copy today, man. You know what I'm saying? Because once that cover switch, you know, like I said before, I said this as well in the past, the price will switch as well. Some brothers complain about the $60 tag, but if you read these pit bull books, whether it's Mr. Richard Stratton, whether it's Miss Jessup, whether it's the journals, whether it's the gazettes, the journals and all that stuff is cheap. When we start talking about these books, they're not cheap. When we talk about them $10 books on Amazon with the pit bulls in it, they're not talking about none of the kind of dogs that we got in them books. They don't got pictures in them books. You gonna order a book that's gonna be all right and it's gonna have some pit bulls that you don't got nothing in common with. You know, so that's why when Mr. Richard Stratton book came out, it was so popular because you seen dogs that you had on your yard. You know, so this is to help brothers and sisters understand, oh, when I go this and type that, I see a $10 book, these pit bull books, $10, why his like this, mine like this, and like I said, in the future, it will be going up 75 to 100. Because I know what they cost when I'm trying to find one. You know? I'm not even gonna buy Miss Jessup books, you know, when I'm looking for pictures and all that type of stuff, and then really get deep into detail with the pedigrees and bloodlines and all that type of stuff. So like I said, man, get your copy. You know, support the positive when it comes to this breed. We don't stop scratching. We still scratching, big dog. You know what I'm saying? Still scratching. With no rub down, with no steroids. We natural. Road work. We know how to control our water. We don't withhold water. Because see, withholding water throughout your keep, withholding water throughout your keep means you can't work, but so hard. But I ain't gonna say too much. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say too much. Y'all get y'all copy, you know, or stay square out there. The brother sent me the article say 10 breeds being banned. Now, let me talk to the American people real quick. Come here, my brothers. Come here. Let me ask y'all something real quick. You know, because I don't get into the politics. I don't like to get into the politics about certain things because I know how people is. But to all my Trump supporters, you know, not saying I'm not saying I am. You know, to all my Trump supporters, you know, let me ask you a question. Because the brother sent me the list of 10 breeds that's on a ban, about to be banned, you know, and I didn't read it yet, so I got to check into it. But let me just ask you a question. With your current president, don't be surprised if a pit bull ban, a nationwide pit bull ban come up. Don't be surprised. And when he put that pit bull ban up, will you feel the same way about him? You know, that's all I'm gonna say. If any president gonna ban the pit bull, it's gonna be Trump. So would you change the way you feel about him if he banned the pit bull? So let me stop these politics and stuff like that. I just wanted to ask y'all about the pit bulls and what would you think? How would you feel if he banned them things? You know, and I got to read that article my brother gave me. You know, I just stay out of that stuff, man. And just try to survive out here like all the rest of the brothers and sisters, you know. Big salute to all the brothers and sisters. Big thank you to all the brothers and sisters. Like I always say, man, everybody that's supporting the channel, I can't say thank you enough, man. I can't say thank you enough. Just keep doing what y'all doing. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay legal out there. That's most important, man. To stay legal. You see, I don't put up that little disclaimer and all that type of stuff. Cause I told y'all from the ripper, man, when it comes to these dogs, that disclaimer don't mean shit when you talking. You gotta talk this stuff, man. That little stuff that I'm writing, talking about, oh, history and all, that shit don't mean shit when you going to sit in front of a jury and they take your video and play it back to them. What you talking about? Oh, you think they gonna read that little disclaimer and that shit gonna mean something? Or maybe it means something for the YouTube, as far as YouTube monetizing your video. Maybe it can mean something on that. But on the law end, it matters what you say. And that's why I always say my words, what I say, is what I'm going by. I am the disclaimer. If folk can read that thing all they want to read, but if I turn around and talk like this, what does that matter? If I turn around and say, oh, I'm a certified this or I'm a certified that, what does it matter because I give a disclaimer at the beginning of the video? But if I don't give a disclaimer, which I don't, and I get up and I talk that talk and I walk that walk, I don't need no disclaimer. I am my disclaimer, like I said. You know, so y'all stay legal, man. Y'all stay safe, and remember we all got it from PB K9s, Dog Talk and TV, and we out.
Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it deep. All by his bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it deep. All by his bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm first green ballin', trying to get my bread long. You know the game gone and my mind been blown. Different decisions that I done made got me fucked up now. Still gon' thug the life I'm living, still gon' hold this shit down. Every day of my life, yeah, nigga chasing cheese. And the same niggas that be around there will see you off your feet. My mama been doing bad, but I ain't going into that.